Good morning. It's good to see everybody today. So today we are going to do some chemistry. We are going to clean some pennies. So I've got some dirty pennies and we're going to clean them using different kinds of chemicals that are in our house. So you will need a container. It should be not metal. So it can be glass, it can be plastic, just not metal. You will need just a little bit of vinegar. I have a really big container. And you will need dirty pennies. You can try some other things too if you want. So I have some other things to try. I have some hot sauce. If you have some ketchup, that's fun to try. I've got a lemon. I've got some soda. So we can try some different kinds of things to see how they work with our pennies. I'm going to give you a second to get those things. Oh, and one more thing you'll need. You will need some water to rinse off your pennies. So after we get our pennies soaking in our vinegar, we're going to need to rinse them off. And you might want a towel or some paper towels or a rag to get yourself all dried up. Okay, great. So everybody got their pennies and their containers? Excellent. Okay, great. So what we're going to do is first I'm just going to tilt my screen a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to pour some vinegar in my glass. You do not need such a big container of vinegar, but this is what I had handy. And you don't need very much. You just need enough to cover your pennies. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take a couple pennies and we're just going to put them in. And you don't want to put them on top of each other. You just want to put them kind of next to each other like so. And we're going to wait for a minute. And while we do that, I want to talk a little bit about what we're going to see. So pennies get all gross and disgusting, right? And the reason that pennies get dirty is sometimes they get dirty because of things in your pockets, but sometimes they get dirty because the copper that's in the pennies, the thing that makes the pennies all shiny like this is copper. And the copper in the pennies reacts with the air. And that starts to build up on the outside of the pennies so that they get this sort of dark color on them. So what we can do is we can soak the pennies and we can clean them and see what happens. So I'm going to take one of my pennies out. So has everybody got their pennies soaking? I see some pennies that are soaking. I see we've got some couple nods here. We're soaking our pennies. Okay. So I'm just going to pull one. Excellent. Philip has his pennies soaking. I'm going to pull one of these pennies out. Okay. It doesn't look different yet, but I'm going to rinse it off. See where we are here. I'm just going to rinse it in this. If you have a sink, that's a lot handier, but let's just do this. Oh, it looks like maybe I need to soak my penny a little bit more. That's a little bit cleaner. Well, that's neat. Okay, let's let our penny soak for a little bit more. But you can see that it's starting to get, this is a Canadian penny, it's starting to get cleaner. And what's happening is that vinegar is a very weak acid. Does anybody know some acids, some different kinds of acids that you have run into?
Delia, do you want to unmute yourself?
Hi, I'm Delia's cousin, actually.
Okay. Hi, Delia's cousin.
Acid in your stomach to help break down.
That's right. There is acid in your stomach to help break down food. So if we could, if we had one of these in our stomach, it would be really shiny, right?
Although you probably don't want to eat a penny.
Try that though. This is a thought experiment. Are there other kinds of acids that you guys have run into? No? Well, the vinegar that you've got right here is an acid. It's not a very strong acid. It's a pretty weak acid. So we can stick our fingers in there and it doesn't hurt our fingers. And we can rinse off our penny. And what's happened is that the acid in the vinegar, there we go. The acid in the vinegar is reacting with the oxide on the penny, the stuff that's making the penny dark. And what that does is it removes that layer so that we can make our pennies shiny. Now, there's a lot of things that have vinegar in them, and there's a lot of things that are acids. So we can try different kinds of acids if we wanted. So let's see if we have some other kinds of acids. So I have a lemon left over from my dinner last night. So I'm just gonna take one of these dirty pennies and I'm just gonna rub the lemon on there. Or if you want, you could squeeze the lemon into a dish. And I'm just gonna see what happens if I rub the lemon on the penny. Squish, 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 squish. Okay. So I'm just gonna let that sit for a minute. And then I'm gonna get another penny set up here. I'm gonna set up a penny with some, what should we try next? Should we try the salsa? Or should we
Julia's
try?
cousin, did you have a question? You had your hand up. Go ahead and unmute yourself. And you can also tell us what your name is so we don't have to keep calling you Delia's cousin.
Unless you like that.
So I'm Marissa. So would lemon juice work? Because it comes from lemon. Would like this lemon juice work?
Why don't we, you could find out. Do you want to try, do you want to test it and see?
Sure.
Yeah. All right. So you test that. I'm going to put a penny in this, couple pennies in here, and I'm going to put some salsa. If you have ketchup in your house, you can put ketchup on your pennies. Ketchup also has vinegar in it. And if you use ketchup, it's got a little bit of vinegar. So it's got that same kind of acid. This is going to smell very interesting. I have all kinds of interesting smells going on right here. And we can let that soak, and we can do, let's do a third one. So I'm going to do 4 experiments all at once. Okay, so we've got our vinegar, we have our lemon, we have our salsa, and then we're going to try, I'm going to try some soda. You can use any kind of soda, I think. So this is, you can use Coke, you can use whatever you've got, whatever your folks have that will let you use. Now the soda might take a little bit longer because it is not a very strong acid. So the acid in your stomach is a very strong acid. The acid in vinegar is not quite as strong. So that's why you can stick your fingers in it and it doesn't hurt. The acid in lemon is a little bit stronger. So I'm going to actually check on my lemon penny and see how my lemon penny is doing. All right, so everybody got some pennies all soaking. Rinse that off. Don't have quite enough room for my experiment. There we go. So this is starting to get shinier. Yes, go ahead. You can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Lemon juice works. Lemon juice removes gross stuff from pennies. Better than the vinegar did for us. Yeah.
Did the vinegar work for you? So sometimes what you can do to make the vinegar work a little bit. Yeah, is it better? Oh, okay. So it looks like it's starting to. Sometimes one of the things you do to get the vinegar to work a little better is to put a little bit of salt in there. So I'm just putting a little bit of table salt in there to see if that makes a difference. So we'll put my pennies, put a couple pennies in here. Oh. So my lemon juice penny got a little bit shinier. So lemon juice is stronger acid than vinegar, and it has more of an effect. It has a faster effect on the stuff that's on the outside of the penny. Okay. Let's see what's going on over here with my salsa. I'm going to use a spoon. I don't want to stick my fingers in there. Oh, so I can see that my salsa actually is working pretty fast on my penny. I'm going to put it back in and see what happens if I let it sit in there longer. But the vinegar in the salsa and the acid from the tomatoes in the salsa is making the pennies shiny again. That's pretty cool. All right. So what do you think would happen if we used, in blueberries? Blueberries have acid, that's right. Ketchup has tomatoes and acid. I have some lime juice. We could try some lime juice. You could try orange juice if you have orange juice. There's a lot of different kinds of acid in your house, and you can try things that are safe, like things that are food, and you can try them on different pennies and see what happens. Now, what do you think will happen if we try a different kind of coin? Do you think that that'll actually work? So if I use a quarter, do you think that'll work? We could find out, right? We could try it with quarters. We could try it with different kinds of things in your house. So let's see, has anybody got some shiny pennies? Are we all waiting? Are we soaking our pennies and waiting? That looks like it's getting a little better, right? Maybe we need to soak it a little bit more.
Lemon juice worked really good.
Worked really good. It's hard to
Them all clean.
It got them all clean? Cool. So some of the things that you use, like if you end up using soda, that actually takes a long time. So that, oh, hey, Mia and Izzy have really shiny coin over there. So sometimes it'll take a little bit longer for it to work, but I'm just gonna leave this on my table and I'm gonna check on it later today and see if I get shiny pennies out of this. Wow, the ones I've got in my vinegar and salt, that worked really well. Arlo's got a shiny penny. Excellent. It looks like the vinegar and salt worked even better. So that's very cool. That's good to know. So something about putting the salt in the vinegar made it react better with the pennies. So we changed the way that the chemistry worked by adding salt. So that's pretty neat. Okay, I'm gonna rinse that off now that I have a nice shiny penny. Okay. Wow, that worked really well. I'm going to put this one back in because that worked really well. So you can get lots and lots of pocket change and you can try and do it. I have some other kinds of coins I'm going to put in here. I'm going to put a quarter in here and see if that works too. And you can experiment with chemistry. You can make some predictions about different things in your house that might work. Now you have lots of shiny pennies. So we have to think about, we will have to come up with an activity next week to use all our shiny pennies, right? Okay. Does anybody else have anything they want to share? Gonna keep cleaning those pennies? I'm gonna try some quarters and see if that works. Excellent. Okay. Now, I see you do, Trey, you do have lots of really shiny pennies. That's excellent. That's so great. Okay. Well, we would love to see if you make anything else shiny, or if you want to share pictures of your shiny pennies on our Facebook page, you can do that when we post our video later today. We'll be back here tomorrow at 10:30. Peter, do you remember what we're doing tomorrow?
Yeah, if you want to join us tomorrow, I will be working with Emily, who's one of our animal room experts, and we're going to have a special sneak peek at some of the new eggs from our green tree python. Some of our snakes at the Science Center have been laying eggs, so we'll take a look at them in the incubator. So that'll be a really cool special treat. And again, that's tomorrow at 10:30 in the same Zoom room that you're in now.
Excellent. And have fun with those pennies. Wash your hands when you're done. And we will see you tomorrow. Bye.